Hello. Can anybody hear me? Let me turn off this horrible music. It's not bad. Okay, so can anybody hear me? I'm gonna be so transparent. I am lagging. I Nothing is working. Everything's taking like I hit it. It takes like 30 seconds. Okay, yes, wonderful, fantastic. Okay, great, great. We're getting responses. So good to see. So good to see. Okay, so then while I'm here, oh, it took me out. I'm good, Ithio. How are you doing? Good to see you. Thank y'all so much for checking in. And while I'm here, I'm still setting up a little bit as I had some technical difficulties. I am going to be attaching. Hello, Dinosaurs. Good to see you again. Don't make me laugh. I'm sick. Okay, where is it? Where was I? Here it is. Okay, let's go ahead and copy this. And now I can do this. And while I'm gonna go ahead and get set up right now, I'm going to be attaching a link to the stream. And oh, did not mean to share referral link. I'm gonna be attaching a link, which is gonna be to check into the event to get y'all's points and make sure you're showing up for that. So let me go ahead and make sure that I'm. Where is it? How do I do this? I was here 2 hours ago. I was just running a stream, and I completely forgot how to use this software. Oh, did I get the wrong one? Let me see. I did get the wrong link. That is the wrong link, guys. Don't don't sign into that one, please. Actually, funny thing. Okay, so I was right. So he might have accident. No, no, no. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. I got the wrong link, guys. Yeah, there's no way. This is all automated, so there's no way. Okay, don't look at that link. Let me bring the proper link. That is the link. It's sending right now, and I'm going to share my screen into the proper one. So now that it's shared, let's go ahead and go in this format. And oh my goodness, guys, this is so delayed. There we go. Okay, wonderful. This is gonna be the other one was a sneak peek. Don't do that one yet. This one is gonna be the one that we're supposed to do. It is going to be, goodness, 5 to 7. That's what really. I guess UT has a different time. Okay, yes, this is gonna be the stream. This is the one that we're looking at. Um, I'm not showing. It's okay. I have some stuff running in the back right now just to make sure that it all works and it's doing what it needs to do. And I have slides that I'm going to be pulling up. As y'all may not know yet, but my name is Iro, and I am a college student. I go to UT Dallas studying computer science. And let me just go ahead and before I yap to y'all a little bit, let me go ahead and get my slides up because right now they're deciding not to cooperate. Okay, there we go. There we go. Yes, do your job. Okay, I have about 8 slides, and I learned from the last. I had 20 slides in my last tutorial, and yeah, I got some live feedback that might be a little bit too much. So I decided let's just not do that many and get through to do some actual coding where we're actually going to be in an IDE, Visual Studio Code. If anyone's curious, it's my favorite. My life a lot easier. And that's some stuff running in the back. Which I'm gonna be maybe pausing a couple times throughout the stream. Hello, can y'all hear me? Am I here? Am I back? Are we working? Is everything going good? Hi, Sandrick. Hello again. Oh, thank goodness. The Wi-Fi went out. Okay, well, it's working. Fantastic. Great. I was like, no, I did so much preparation. But yes, oh my gosh. Thank y'all so much. Wow. Technical difficulties to start. That's so funny. So, well, we're back. So I'm not gonna lie, I was talking for a good minute there, like talking, introducing myself, and then I just disappeared. That was really funny. But well, okay. So the good news is while I was yapping and nobody heard me, right? I was I closed the tab out and reopened it and it worked. But to introduce myself again, my name is Iro. I go to UT Dallas. I'm a sophomore in college. And I like to do hackathons. That's why I became an MLH coach. And it has been nothing but an amazing experience. And if you have any questions on that, I'd love to talk about it, anything like that. The goal is y'all got 2 hours with me. I'm super excited to teach it. And I am a little bit sick right now. I'm allowed to take my medicine after this stream because you can take it every 4 hours. But I have a full water bottle with me with anime stickers, and I have some tissues, so I'm ready to go. So if I pause during a thing, then that's fine. But what do we have on the plan? What's on the schedule, right? I have 8 slides. I learned from the last one. I'm not going to give 20. 8 slides going over Java. This is going to be an intro to Java. And I appreciate it, dinosaurs. I hope I get well. I have work on Monday, and I start at 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So it's not, I don't have to work that much, but I want to. So that's the goal. But I have a lot to go over, and I don't think we'll get over it, but this is going to be, I'll get through it all. But this is an intro, right? And I'm literally like, whether I get through it or not, if I need to do more, I already have like prompts ready and examples. Like, don't worry, I'm going to reach my full time. But hopefully the Wi-Fi stays strong. And just know if it does cut out to the people here, I'm going to do everything in my power to get back in. So let me go ahead and make sure. Can I get some verbal responses? Or do you also have access to the um, the thing I shared, the actual like MLH thing? So let me share my screen and get it displayed to y'all. I'll show my beautiful face for this one because I feel very animated. And let me add to stage. Okay, so this is gonna be the website, and then let me attach the actual link again just to make sure. I need to reiterate that. Oh, voice crack! I haven't had that in years. That this is gonna be to help just like track of numbers, logistics. It helps me out as well as y'all to get the points because I know there's a whole like a game thing for it and you can win stuff for it. I can't do it because I'm a coach, so I don't know how it works. And what's up, Sumi? Well, what did you miss? Well, I'm a little bit sick, but I'm super excited to be here. Yeah, Cedric, come on, you don't have to say it that fast, okay? I'm trying to give a little bit of suspense. But yes, I haven't done anything yet. I have all my slides ready. I have something, I've attached the link to this specific website, and if anyone needs it throughout it, please do let me know. It helps just in general a lot to be able to just register and do all of that. So we're already almost 15 minutes in, so I'm just gonna get started. I'm just gonna go ahead and get going. So let me get rid of my face. Let me do full screen. And now I learned from the last stream that I can do this. And boom, introduction to Java, the language that powers the world, right? I have I have this going right now, and this is going to be some HTML slides. I won't be teaching HTML this time. I'll be teaching Java. We're just going to go into a little bit of history, Cedric, if that's okay with you. So hopefully it'll all work out well. So moving on to the next slide, we're going to see what is Java, right? It's a coding language. That's the very high level of it. And it's object oriented. So what does that mean? There's functional programming and object oriented. An example is object oriented. If you checked out the last stream with Varshini, great coach, by the way, she's helped me out. She teaches Python, which is a functional programming language. And they have their different, but to put it simple, object oriented is you're using code to create objects. Like let's say a dog class or a cat class, that's object oriented. And you can do those things in Python, but it's just a little bit easier in Java in terms of its purpose and the way that it's used to be able to create objects because object is a very vague term because you can make anything an object if you really think about it. So then the write once, run anywhere, or right. And this is a really powerful term because Java can be written once and then run anywhere. It's so powerful and so into the technology world where the prime example I can give is I have a CD player at my mom's house, and it is it is just for playing CDs and all that, and it has a sticker on it that says "Powered by" because it was completely coded in Java, and all the code that's in there is in the system, which is a lot of buzzwords to say that it's in it. It's all coded in Java and is able to process everything quickly and handle it, and it's just great. And then the JVM is Java Virtual Machine, which is something that can be put into any hardware. And the beauty is that once you have a JVM, that means you can run it anywhere. And that's what I was saying, where you can have a JVM in the CD player and it'll play it beautifully. You can have it on your computer, anywhere really. I'm talking a bit too fast. That's why I'm coughing so much. But if there's any questions, please do let me know, and I'll go ahead and do my best to explain it. If not, we go to AI. So it's gonna get very annoying. That's gonna get super annoying. It even have my background. Yeah, I can see that. All right. This is gonna be a great stream. I'm already so happy. I'm looking forward to this. Okay, guys. I don't know how long the Wi-Fi is gonna stay. We're 10 minutes in. I've cut out twice, so hopefully I don't get in trouble for that. So I'm I'm just gonna go ahead and go as fast as I can, right? Good to see y'all again. So let's go ahead and share my screen one more time. Right, that I don't lose it. So let's go and do. All right, Java history, right? Oracle gets it. Java powers 3 billion devices. It's used worldwide. And while I have y'all here and doing all like this, and I'll go ahead and show myself a little more, but actually, I'll just show the thing. You don't want to see my beautiful face. It's too gorgeous. But today, Java powers over 3 billion devices worldwide, and it's still really powerful. A lot of people say Java's dying. It's not as good as all these other languages, and the dying part, they're definitely wrong. The not as good, maybe on some sense, depends on the situation, but pretty much in the sense it's that it's very powerful for what it wants to do, and there's still so much availability for it in terms of main example is Spring Boot, Spring AI. That's all Java, and it's versatile. And what that means is that it's been there for a long time and it's still powerful. So when it comes to, let's say, JP Morgan, I can give some insight into that as I will be interning there in the summer. But to give some more context to know what I'm talking about, they have a lot of their banking system and things like that with legacy code. And legacy code is old code that is just being maintained. A lot of it is in Java. A tremendous amount is in Java. All of those banks, the Goldman Sachs, the Royal Bank of Canada, the Citibank, Bank of America, they all use Java on their backend. It's not everything, but it's a huge part of it, and that applies to any huge organization. And I can guarantee that because it's just useful. It was so useful for its time. It's still useful now. So coming out, I can like. There's so many jobs out there that pay easy six figures for just knowing Java, and if you're good at it, you can do a lot. And then I'll provide some resources for doing stuff like that. Okay, Sumi, very huge clarifying point. Java and JavaScript are not the same thing. How do I put your comment up here? Show. Java and JavaScript are not the same thing. Java is a object-oriented programming language. JavaScript is a completely different language, completely different syntax, the way that it's interpreted and things like that. Okay, great. We're already getting into a fantastic question. Y'all asking the difference between them? Okay. Java, again, I said object-oriented and all that. JavaScript is something that's usually used for front end, but you can also use it for back end. And what it is it's polyamorous. So that might not be the right term, but it is object oriented as well as it can be functional. It can do both. And then there's even a super to that where it's TypeScript, which is just JavaScript with types. Pretty much to say that it's completely and totally different. The Java and the JavaScript are not related at all. And it's like syntax is completely different, but of course they can logically follow the same things. And then okay, we're getting some great questions. Okay, Sumi. So you're asking why we need object oriented only. So I'll say it like this. The main thing is not to focus so much on the function, like how Python is only functional, how Java is only object oriented. You can do both like you can, if I were to build a website, right? And I wanted it to do some back end function like the doctor's appointment, and then the back I wanted to like do a bunch of scripts and do all that. It is possible to do that in Java, JavaScript, Python, Golang, any of these languages. But the thing is they're not all the same speed. So we can, and if it's like something like handling one patient, then yeah, that's fine, right? But let's say you were handling a billion clients at the exact same time. That's when speed matters. And one thing that's key to remembering is that Java is a low level language. So that means it gets closer to the hardware. You're able to manipulate it more in what you do. JavaScript and Python, those languages are very high level. So high level means that it does a lot of the work in the back for you, but that work, it's impossible to optimize it to the point where it'll go really fast. It's just not possible. So with a language like Java, yes, it's older, but the way that it's built and the way that it's managed, it's able to run things a trillion times faster. So applying that logic, if the next like language under would be C, C is super close to having a very like the lowest level language. So if you're trying to handle a billion clients, then C would be able to do it like a couple seconds faster than Python. And the reason a couple seconds may not seem like a lot, imagine if you're doing a billion every single second. So then every second, C would be getting a 2 second lead. So after an hour, you'd have like after an hour, logically, you'd have a 2 hour lead on it. So if you're doing this constantly and you're handling data and things like that, because as we speak, let's bring an example in. Let's talk about Jane Street, right? I know some of the stuff they use, but I can't really talk about it and where I learned it. But pretty much they're using a language that's as low level as possible, and it runs millions of math equations in seconds. It can pull a year's worth of data in half a second and able to do things like that. Yes, low level will be able, yeah. So low level is able to handle, it's not so much that like it's handling a crowd, but more like you can optimize it to do the least amount of work and execute the fastest possible. Great. You brought me to a great thing that I'm very like passionate about. So that's why I immediately had to stop. But definitely like Java is going to be a lower level language. It's not the lowest level, of course. And like if we had to bring this into, let's say, water usage, right? Because computers use water and things like that to power it. And bringing in that $1 billion example, Java would use so much less water than Python or JavaScript. Okay, let me bring in this next question. Also, if you have any more questions or clarifications for it, then do that. And then I'll answer the questions one at a time because the goal about this is I want to give y'all as much information as possible. So asking questions for like concepts are very important to understand, especially when learning something. So we have another question over here by Olua. where it's asking, is Java recommended as a first language, or best to start with JavaScript or Python? So with this, I'm going to say it depends, but I would recommend learning Java before JavaScript or Python. And the reason I say that is because Java is a lower level language. That means you're going to understand what's happening more. So, giving an example, I don't know if y'all know leak coding, right? I have a friend that leak codes with me, but he does Python and I do Java. When solving a problem or like trying to get a task done, they can both complete it. They can both definitely do it. And it won't be a task where like it'll be a time factor. So you won't have to worry about that. Some of them are, but most of the time not. But Java is a lot more lower level, and that means you have to do a lot more work yourself. So if I write 100 lines of code to solve the problem and it does it really fast but does it nice, that's 100 lines of code though. That's a lot of effort. And Python's able to do that in maybe like, let's say, 0.01 second. It takes up that much longer, but it's 2 lines of code. Imagine that, like that kind of example. That's where it gets tricky, where you're dealing with Java and it's a lot more complicated, but you understand everything that's happening. And then with that, then we'll have the JavaScript or Python where you can get things done a lot faster in the sense of like typing it, not speed. I'll never say speed, but you'll get it a lot better in handling like certain tasks. But with that, Java being a lower level language, it's more difficult to learn, so a higher learning curve. Python is more like English. It's very easily well written. It doesn't have as much syntax. Like Java, you have to put a semicolon after every single line. Python, you don't have to put any semicolons at all. In JavaScript, you don't even have to worry about semicolons either there. So I hope I was able to answer your question. I'd recommend learning Java first. Picking that up will help you pick up the other languages. Once you master one language really well, you can master the other ones. I know Java, Golang, Python, JavaScript. I know some computer architecture, so I know like assembly. I've done Unix before. Things like this. It's about like I started with Java. I started coding Java in 8th grade. And I'm getting a lot of questions, so great to see. Oh, Freddie, hi. I see you checking in. Good to see you. Excuse me, I have a bit of a cough. But I'm gonna go ahead and get through these questions, as many as there are, until I continue with the presentation. So I'll try to hurry up in case anyone's waiting on me. We have another question from Sumi. And wait, you had one question before. And is it easy to excel in the future? I think it's still going to be very powerful, especially when dealing with like legacy code. It's not going to go anywhere anytime, because why would you break something if it works great and it's handling billions of transactions? Going back, you can see the point on Java history, over 3 billion devices, and we're not having any major technical crisis, so clearly it works. So I think it still has a great future. And then, but someone said Django plus React is much more efficient than Java. Well, depends on the case, right? If you're trying to build a website and you want to like get it up and running and do all of that, the Django plus React will be way faster. And the reason of that is because it's made for doing that task. But if you were to say to handle again 1 billion clients and processing data, Java is going to destroy React. It's going to destroy these two together, because Java in itself, like the language and like going that low level, will just make it a lot efficient. It will make it more efficient than the Django plus React. It depends on the use case, like what you actually want to intend to use the language for. And then answering that, is it true? Yes. It depends on the use case, right? Depends on what you do it for. Yeah, Freddie saying I love Java. Me too. I love Java as well. I started with it. And then, okay, so looking things like this. So yeah, opcode, like lower level code, is of course going to be a lot faster, but way more complicated to learn. And it gets to a point where it's just not worth the effort, right? C is the one where it'd be the most worth effort, as people are still working with that to like make optimized trading algorithms to be able to trade things as quickly as possible. And there's a lot more languages. Like I could list 100 languages, and they're all like going to be on the list of ordering of like less abstraction to high. Yeah, it's wonderful, wonderful comparison as I'm reading your question. And when you say script languages like JavaScript and like Python, so when things like that, they're going to be the slowest. The higher level of the language, the slowest it is. And Java is super slow. Sorry. Python and JavaScript are like super slow in the sense that they are so high level where they have so much stuff going on in the background that you don't see and is built into the language that it'll just take forever. Like it would be like I think I should. Okay, and now I'm pulling up a list right now. I'm literally just going to. There should be like a website or something like that. Let me see if I can pull up images. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Let's see how old this is. I'll just start pulling up like doing. Here, wait. Let me see it. Okay. I have a lot of screenshots here. I'm just gonna go ahead and just start sharing my screen on that. Domino source, great point. I'm showing that. Use the right tool for the right problem. 100%. You would not use assembly in most cases unless you're going for like the most like complicated, like you need it to be the fastest thing as possible, like saving someone's life or something. And then yes. Also, Sumi, first you're totally fine, man. Ask as many questions as you need. It's not definitely like it's in the stream. I want to emphasize that going into learn these things doesn't matter whether you're a high schooler, you're in college, or you're a 40-year-old man. Like taking the time to learn something like this is very valuable. You're expanding your knowledge. That's a fantastic thing, and I'm proud of everybody here. Oh yeah, 100%. And what's it called? Just I won't show the image then, but like pretty much Java's still very popular, and like the size of like the programming language is like there's so much in for it. Like I'll show it like I'll just show it real quick. I'm so sorry. Let me go ahead and show this. Okay, look over here. I literally said fastest coding language, just so it's like that, right? And when looking at this, like it's not going to show the right ones, right? But if we go over here, red, of course. Is it going to show, or am I going to get yelled at? 1 second, I'm pulling it up. Hopefully, I don't get that guy. Well, loading, I'll pull this up. Right here across company, right? Java's used tremendously. Others are still used, but these are all being right. Great languages. If we go over here, oh, this is the one. Oh, it's blurry. Okay, but you see over here, this energy is fastest. So going slow, it's very blurry. But if we go down, they get slower, right? This is C. I can see it. C is at the top, and then you have Rust is second fastest. C++, Java's next under one more. Oh, there we go. It loaded. Wonderful. Can y'all see this? Okay, great. I'm assuming you can see it. How do I expand this? Okay, so when going like this, if we look over here, okay, one great. We have a speed comparison, so handling like the 11's formula 1,000 times. We see that C++ is very fast, right? And then there's Fortran, which is a very old language. Don't learn that. Julia, AOT compiled, Nim, C, Go. These languages are fast. And then there's Java. It's not the fastest, but it's very low level where it can. JavaScript is next in Julia. Python, see how much longer Python takes. JavaScript, since I said it's like polyamorous, it can do both. So you're able to optimize it. But Python, you see how slow that gets. And then Python, like C Python, which is to do other things. Look how long these take. And it's just like, it just take forever. Great, I was able to show that example. Fantastic. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go back to doing this. While they're in Java, right? This is guaranteed. I'm like the job that I'm getting, like if let's say I got a return offer from one of my summer internships, it's over 100K, and like you could do it just in Java. Like I'm validating these points. And then 90% of Fortune 5 companies use Java. Banking, healthcare, e-commerce, huge companies. Number one, most of them. Like there's so many developers, and there's a guy named I believe Josh Long. I can show his YouTube channel later, but he's a fantastic YouTuber for learning Java and specifically in ways you can actually optimize it. And I've met this guy at a conference. He he codes Java like it's English. Like it's his like he's so fast. And Oh yeah. So people say in development and data structures go for Java instead of C++. They're both good for it. The reason that people don't like C++ as much is because you have to deal with pointers, and pointers are really annoying, and you can get dynamic and very annoying. And smart pointers, it goes into a whole thing. I would look into it if I were you. It's definitely useful to learn because if you learn pointers, you can optimize it. Again, that you can get paid money to optimize things and make them a lot faster, but very difficult, very hard learning curve. I took a class on it. It was not fun. But looking at this point, we see that it's very useful. And now if we go on to the next slide, we're going to see Java versus others, where we see that Python is used for AI and machine learning. And that's because it's just optimized for that. And it's not going to be a fast as fast, of course, but Python has things built into it that makes it really good for that. And since it's an easy language to learn, you can do a lot with it. And then C++ for performance and control. So optimizing and that easier memory management is is very difficult to actually implement. But if you're able to like that, the easy part is making it way faster. And then what is CP? But in CP they prefer computer science principles, like the AP class, or what are you talking about? And then JavaScript, we see web development. I'll keep answering questions as they come, but I'll keep going over the slides. So we have JavaScript. There's web development, backend scalability, better structure, type safety, all true. But again, you can do it in Java. And then let me go ahead and go this. So oh yeah, I did competitive programming actually, guys. Oh, quick story into that. I started in competitive programming. I did it like starting 8th grade and going into that. And you can do any language you want, but definitely if there's something like time constraints, like there have set problems like the really hard ones where there are time constraints. So if you do it in Python, you can't do it, right? And if you solve it in like C++, that'll work because it'll just run it that much faster in handling like certain use cases. And like C++, Sumi, when going into that, like it's very useful for things like that. So it's very like people do it for competing. I did Java. I got like second place one time, but there were some really cracked people in my year. So, but the I never was upset about losing because comparing myself to them and trying really hard really helped me grow as a developer. Okay, moving on. I believe I have one more. So today's learning path, I'm gonna go over the points, and this is just for like handling like the future. We're gonna have all of this here. And I have VS Code already open, but pretty much for this, you have to install JDK, and that would be like going on Oracle. So here, I'll just show it real quick. I'm loading it over here, and then since they bought Oracle, I mean Oracle bought them, like you can go on this website and then like going into there's see great documents, great like Oracle, like a lot of people don't like them, but I mean they own Java, so you kind of have to deal with them and like you can get tutorials, news, videos, Java experts, Java AI world, like it's not dying. It's still gigantic for what it does. And these people are money makers. Is that Josh Long? Better not be. But we look over here, you can literally download it and it's made for anything. Like it's made for like, handling so many things. And let me see if there's any questions. And then, yeah, wonderful. Done with the step one. And then, so for that, like you can choose whatever IDE you want, things like that. Let me go back to where I was. Let me delete all my slides so I don't keep clicking on them. Okay, here we go. And then the hello program. I'm gonna show all of this. So I'm gonna show it right now. You can go back to this video once you have it if you'd love to look at it. It's gonna stay on YouTube, and I don't know if Twitch holds it or anything like that. But we'll be on YouTube, so don't worry anything like that. Oh, but it'll stay on there. So we'll see something like this, and I'm gonna go through the basics pretty much and like here. That's how I set up. And for this, like just give a little more information of what it will look like. This is your basic syntax to get started. So you have a class created, which is logically an object. And then this is just proper syntax to get one going. So public static void means you're not returning an argument. That's void. And then main, this is general syntax for ensuring that this is proper. This is how you want to follow it because it's the run of your main class, because that's how it's structured. And then you're passing in a string of array arguments, which it doesn't have to be a string, but this is how it works. And it looks very complicated, right? Like, if we were to use Python, it's just print, and then brackets, whatever you want to print, or parentheses, sorry. You have to do system, and then system has a lot of functions in it. So you do dot out, and dot out has a lot of functions. So you do dot print line, and print line is a function. It doesn't have any more. So you pass a parameter in that function. A lot of buzzwords. If you ever need me to explain anything or a specific word, then let me know. Oh, what's the Java YouTuber's name? His name was Josh Long, but that's not the name of his YouTube channel. Let me pull that up real quick and get you a link. I can even, I will, it's like, it's like coffee and something, but he should, let me see if I can search out Josh Long Java YouTube channel. My computer's being a bit slow, so if I cut out, I'm so sorry. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but yeah, yes, yes. It's coffee plus software. There we go. Good, good. Even Google like search engine knows it. But let me pull them up right just so I can show you. Coffee software and fantastic YouTube channel. This guy lives and breathes Java. He's just knowing it. And I'm on Oracle. Where do I get to download the Java kit? So you're gonna have to. I won't be able to in this time frame to like run you through doing it exactly, but I think he promised you. There's videos on there depending on your machine, whether you have a ThinkPad, MacBook, Chromebook, you're able to get Java. You just watch some tutorials after, and you can come back to this video and look over the steps and start like copying it and doing all of that. So right now, what I'll do is I will show the coffee and software real quick, just so y'all can see it real quick. And I'm so sorry I'm not able to like go into specifically teaching the like exact like getting it and having it all run interactively with me. It's just I know I have 2 hours and I'd love to be able to show you the things that you can look back on since the YouTube like it'll become a YouTube video, and then we can do that instead of like because the setting up the IDE, I trust me, once you get that up, it's easy as pie. You do it once, you can do it again. But if we look over here, we see this is Josh Long, right? And this guy just has a lot of things going on about Java, and it's just doing all this, and you see just and like the mediocre is not. He is this guy in person, and like I started touching him a little bit, like asking him to like build certain things, and I'm like, I know this is easy in Python, but it's not in Java, so can you do that really fast? And he just did. He's just so fast. Like this guy codes so fast, like faster than AI is what I'm saying. So yeah, that's coffee and software. So let's go ahead and then show this, and then now, all right. I want to get to the inside. So let's start coding. Time to write some code in Java, right? So that means we're going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up VS Code. And I see this thing is getting yelled at. So I'm going to tell it. I'm going to okay, I know I can see that thing. Um, I have like all my examples of what I want to do and such, but I think that'll be enough, honestly. But just in case, I'm gonna tell it. Okay, so the bonus folder is having saying the declared package does not match the expected package bonus. I'm getting a red line for some of this stuff. I don't, I don't think everything should still run with like if I run it, does it work? Yeah, it does just fine. Okay, great. Okay, well then I'm just gonna let it have the red lines, I guess. Whatever. Okay, that works for me. Sorry guys, I'm just doing. You can't see me, and I can't see you right now, but I'm literally going into the IDE, and I have so many. It created a bunch of stuff. It's just all like here, and I'm manually deleting each one because I don't want to spoil the future of it. I will show you all very. Save. Oh my gosh. Okay, there we go. It like opens it up every single time, which is super annoying. There we go. Fantastic. We are starting fresh. Let me see. They don't say anything while I was logged in. I can't see the IDs. It's just me. No, that was me. That was me fixing what was on there. And let me take the source. Okay, and get started by sharing my screen, my entire screen. So this is gonna get a bit tricky since I won't be able to check questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them, and I'll take some like breaks through the code to see if there's any questions and answer them. But I am going to go ahead and share my entire screen, and then I guess I can just do this, right? And then if I go over here and then I hide this and I go to Visual Studio Code, we're able to open this up, right? And we're gonna have the Intro to Java folder that I made. There's a lot of stuff in here. These are the slides that I just worked on, so don't worry about that too much. And projects, I can generate some, so don't worry too much about that yet, because we're starting with the basics. So we're gonna go over here, and don't worry about this class thing yet. That's just because I tested one to make sure. But we're gonna start here. We're gonna start with Hello World, and it's gonna be very laid out, as simple as possible to get all through here to explain what's happening. So here we're gonna have that we have a Java Hello World package. Sorry, not package. We have just what it's called. And then this is the first Java program. And every Java program needs a class, a main method, and the side of whatever you want to run. It has to be inside of the main one, right? So I'll go ahead and go through three and then come back and answer any questions since I believe there's 12 here. So that should work out great. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a system.out.println line. So this, each one is its own class, and that dot is to get access to its methods. So system is a class, and it has a bunch of methods in it. So like when you do here, I can even go ahead and I can do system, and you see how it's showing me like so many possible things for it. So if I go system, and it sees that that's part of the Java Lang package, and I already have that in here. It should already have context to it of understanding it, so I don't have to import it. But if I do, I can just do that. But if I do dot right, that means I've gone into that one. And now if I start typing and doing that, the only option for this one mostly is out. So then if I do this, now we see all of the methods of out, because you can also do system.in, and then you can do like a bunch of things with that. There's a lot of methods, but right now we're gonna focus on out. And if we do dot, all of these methods you could do for us. So many options. One thing, there's literally that much stuff already built, but we'll stick to the string one. And they're all the same. It just it has all of those because all of these functions are already inside. Just to bring it back and show y'all real quick. So if I do this, sorry, this one, it has this one, print line, print object. These are the exact same. They just have them all just in case. It doesn't matter what you run. On the back, it'll find what you're running, whether it's an object, a string, and if I keep going, all of these other types like handling char, int, long, float, and it's able to go ahead and just use these. And we can print something. If I can type, print line, and then we can say apostrophes, and we'll say that coding is so much fun, and I can give a little cute face. And then remember, after every single line, we are going to make sure we add a semicolon. And I'll hit Command S, and then I will pull up my terminal for output, which, can I clear this? I wish I could, but if I run this, yeah, that's gonna be very annoying. I need to figure out how to delete that. But if you see this, we're running it here. Took 3 seconds, not too bad. If I had perfect Wi-Fi, it would run instantly. But we see this here. We see hello world, and then this is line 1, 2, 3, and then this is print line. So one thing I can do is look at that current example. I'm gonna get rid of these LNs because this is another method that we can run. So if I save this and then I run the file again, we'll see that it's gonna run it. And it's gonna take a little longer because it's going through this system, but not enough where we have to worry about it. Excuse me, I'm gonna blow my nose. Hopefully I can cover your ears. Sorry about that. I'm sick, but I don't want to go through the effort of going through the screen, pausing it, blowing my nose and muting and doing all that. So I trust y'all. So if we go over here, I'll scroll down and we'll see that this is line two, this is line one, and then in line 2 and 3, it creates its own line and they stick together. And that's because this LN part is very crucial in creating its own line. So after this, there is a new line. And then that new line has this print one, and then they're just all together. and it looks a little ugly. But if I go ahead and add some spaces here, because it takes into account for that, I can run this, and then we'll see that it will literally like space it out and do things like that. So it looks a lot prettier. Actually, it didn't do it. Why didn't it do it? I guess it's not taking into account for it. So if that doesn't work, that's totally fine. So you know what we do? We literally just we concatenate, which is a big word for it. Very crucial to know this in Java. But now if I do this, it should 100% work. And if it doesn't, then I'm gonna be upset because it should work. There we go. See, did what I wanted. It concatenated it. And this is me very crucial to show as yeah, I just realized it's not this okay, these are a lot of things, but each in itself has a lot of examples. So this is the very basic stuff. We're displaying things, right? And then we see how it also displays 3.14. It displays this 42 one. And then the reason this 42 is in line with these two is because the new line, this ln is what's closing it off. So what I would have to do is I'd have to go over here and I'd have to type a system dot out dot print line, and you can tab it to make it faster. And then it's null right now. I'm going to keep it null because go away null. What do you want to hear? It's null already in itself like this. So if I run this, the print line won't stay together. There's a space, and then you see that it stays clear and does all of this. Okay, how do I clear you? I want you cleared. I wish I could clear output, but I don't feel like figuring that out right now. So we see how this looks beautiful, does all this. So now let's go ahead and do some edge cases. So I'll go ahead and get rid of these. We don't have to worry about them right now. Let's get another system dot out dot print line. And let's do something like this. Let's do 123 and let's add one, right? If we do this, it should work properly, right? Because these are two strings. So we know it's going to print 1, 2, 3, 1. But if we do this, and I need to parentheses, if we do this, now we have a number going into a string. So what's going to happen, right? Let's run it and find out. It's going to run the exact same logic. So concatenation is where you're adding onto something that already exists. Because this is a string, it's going to add this number as a string as well. And even if it was the other way around, one adding the object power than a primitive data type. So it's just going to take and it's just going to be 1, 1, 3 if you had it the way. That's a lot. It's going to is there any questions? Okay, who's making fun of me? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on. Y'all see this? He's making fun of me. This this is outrageous. You're lucky I have to teach Java. I'll see you after the stream. I'm gonna remember that. Okay, moving on. I see no questions. Wonderful. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue back to what I was working on. So back over here, right? We see this concatenation doing things like this. It goes the other way around. That's the main like edge case for this. There's also like multiple ways you can do it. You can even do like don't quote me. I feel like I'm gonna mess this up, but I haven't done it in a while. But if you do like I should make it a different thing, but you can do specific keys like /n, and then if I is it like this or is it like that? Like this? No, it's like this, and then I go plus like 1,000. Logically, it should separate line. And I'm just not doing proper syntax, and we'll skip that. But it ignored it. Why did you ignore me? Is it /t? Or is it got in package? Oh, uh, okay, this gonna work. Whatever. We don't worry about that, right? But there's another thing. There's specific tokens that are special. It's like this /n or like oh, I didn't mean to do that. Or like /t and Those are like special characters, like you can do it. I'll let y'all figure out how to add that in the end, but again, we're not gonna focus on the logistics. I'm literally like, I'm trying to. I know most of the stuff of like bringing it in and using it, but I'm trying to remember like what my teacher taught me in eighth grade of like the edge cases of them and like what how it would break because that's what I got quizzed on the AP test. Everyone making fun of me, call me old. I'm 20. I'll have y'all know that. I'm young. I just lost my teenager status. I'm so sad. All right, next topic. We have comments. Get rid of this because I want it to look pretty. Okay, can I? One, yeah, one code, whatever. Okay, so comments are notes. You saw the comments in the last one that was being used. This is going to be a block comment. Comments are super important in ensuring that you help explain your code. And the reason I made this an entire topic itself is because imagine you were a software developer, you're in a big job, right? There's a huge database and there's so many things you don't know. It's gigantic, right? And it's been with the company for 30 years. How are you going to know what's happening in the code without comments? Do you need them? And especially even I can here, and let's say this was my personal project. Let's say I didn't finish what I was supposed to do here, right? I'll let a comment. I'll go things I need to finish, and I'll go over here and I'll make a to-do list, and I'll be like, I need to finish coding my project. And I don't know. Let's do um, let's do go get groceries, something like that. If you were coding it, and let's say I broke something, right? Fix one, fix it. Like, what was it? It was like debug. I'm trying to show y'all Power VS Code where you start to do it. There's also a like another one that's like think like red. I can't remember, but one that you can do to change colors. It's a package Am I here? Can y'all hear me? Hello? I can't tell. Am I on here? Hello, Cosmos. Can y'all see me? Are we going good? Am I being displayed properly? Let me. Okay, wonderful. Y'all can hear me. Great. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Here's the deal, guys. My Wi-Fi is not working, right? And it's choosing not to upload, right? I'm small. Why am I so small? How do I make myself bigger? Hmm. Okay, I'm in settings. I'm on my phone right now because I really want to like I had the Java stuff going. So even if it's just me talking about it and y'all want to like search things up, I'm totally down to do that. And if y'all have any questions, I'd love to do that. I want to talk about really the importance of it and like how versatile it can be. I believe I can even share my screen on like code over here and just start talking about it. Like I will literally just go on my phone and just start sharing my whole screen and making sure that it works the way I want it to. Because coding is important and I want to make sure that I can show y'all that. And I don't know if it's pausing me right now, but I'm setting up my phone for success, guys. I'm going to do my best to make sure that whatever I need to do, I'm able to complete my stream, as I would hate to just have y'all like waiting in here for me. I feel horrible, you know? So let me see. I'm very small, right? I'm on like the corner of it. So maybe, just maybe, yeah, my laptop, guys, is just booty right now. This is so bad. Yeah, it's just not working. So I may be small, but I'm able to figure out how to be able to show myself. I'm here right now. If I do dot dot dot, I can change the layout. Okay, boom. Okay, I'm figuring it out as we go, guys. Different UI on mobile, but that's totally okay. Big screen right here. So I figured out how to be able to share my screen. So what I'm gonna do right now is I have like internally I can have what I want to teach up here. I have notes and stuff like what I want to go over. And I'm just gonna start Googling certain topics and explaining how they work. How does that sound? Is that okay with you? I will go ahead and share my screen and work it that way. Hopefully y'all can still hear me through it all. But yes, I'll give a little bit of intro. I am in New York. This is coming to wall. I'm not gonna dox myself of where I am, but I'm in New York. Yeah, I'm in the five boroughs. I'm in a great spot. Can y'all still hear me? Are we still going good? I just want to confirm that. I'm wearing my MLA shirt just in case I show myself, you know? Excuse me. Can I get a confirmation? Can anyone hear me? Am I muted? Chat, am I muted? If any of the higher ups see this, I want to make sure I do the workshop, okay? Okay, wait, I can't tell if I got no one. Okay, I got a yes. Yes, thank you. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all's patience. Y'all been a lovely audience. So let's go ahead and get something going. So I don't know if you can still, if it makes it easier, I'm just gonna cover my face and I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can start sharing my screen. So if I go over here and then another resource I can definitely provide is it's called Code with Mosh. So it's code with and then space Mosh. He is a fantastic YouTuber. He has so many subscribers and this guy just does like tutorials for a living and he's a fantastic tutorialist. He does fantastic work in what he teaches. And the reason I say that is that when I was younger, back in my middle school days and things as such, I started out by watching YouTube videos from him and really helped me understand the concepts and all the edge cases. So if I go ahead and go over to variable types in Java, and I go over to images, Okay, wonderful. I will just use generative AI to go ahead and do that. So let me see if I can share my screen. But okay, great. We have yeses coming in. So excuse me. Let's see. Am I able to share my chat? Recording in progress, yes. So we have all of these. We have comments. Hmm. Let's see. Am I able to share my screen? Hopefully. I'm figuring that out as we go. Private chat layout. Maybe, okay, if I go over here and then I'll do the little one where it is like this. Not this one. I don't want to do that one. I want to do this one. Okay, so I got into that point, and then I don't want to show comments on stage. Oops. I can show the comments on the actual stage. So we have all these, all destinations. I can look at participants. Oh no, and making me change things I don't want to change. Okay, let's see. Let's figure this out. Is there no other way? Is there presets, notes, teleprompter, not needed? Oh my goodness. This is not going the way I intended. Let's see. Has my Okay, guys, it looks like my Wi-Fi is back. Let me see. Okay, the Wi-Fi is back. So I'm going to join on my laptop, and that'll make it just so much easier. Let's see if this works out. If I Am I gonna be able to join from both? That'd be really funny. It's loading, it's loading. Okay, great. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and leave on this one, which I don't know how to do. Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna close my tab here. Hopefully it works out. Let's see. We'll figure it out as we go. Here, let's try. Let me go to share screen. Let's go to let's go to entire screen. Share. Okay, we're back on topic. I'm gonna check every couple minutes just to make sure that the stream is still running. And I have my phone one ready on the side with data just in case I do get kicked out. I'm able to still do everything and get it going. So thank y'all so much for the patience. So this is totally on me. So hopefully y'all can understand it. And I'm so sorry about the trouble. But I have my screen sharing and I'm going to pull up. Oh, I'm going to pull up Visual Studio Code. There we go. Okay. It's not showing anything. Let me bring screen only one. There we go. And now, can y'all see the code that's on there? Hopefully you can. I'm praying that you can. And we were on comments, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You need comments, right? Especially for this, and like you can pass different parameters to just these are things to just help explain what's happening in the code and just make it so much easier. Hmm. Can I get a comment from anybody? Are you able to see my Visual Studio Code like when I go over there? No, you're not. Now you are. I answered my own question. Okay, there we go. Fantastic. So if we go over here, you're able to see it. We were on the comments one. So let's go ahead and go to the next one, which is variables. And we're going to see that there are a lot of variables. All of these apply to pretty much every language. But of course, you're going to have a little bit of a different syntax for each one. Like in Python, you don't ever have to define like integer. It'll just do it on its own. But we see how this is an example of variables where we can store numbers. I know we have H25, and we see how like we have different things to store different information. And then we can do things like this where we're able to concatenate. So that's that thing of doing a string with an integer because it's technically an integer, but because it's primitive, it's able to just get concatenated. And then an empty line for spacing, which is safe. And then doubles, which are going to be doubles. There's doubles and floats. Floats is just a smaller version of double, but they're used to handle what's it called? Excuse me. They're used to handle things with decimal points, like 0.99. So you would use it to handle things like money, right? And you see how all these can be applied and like how we have decimals. Decimals don't work on int. Like if I did 2026.2, it would give me an error. See, you cannot convert double to int. And even if I tried to print this out, it would just cut off the point two. Excuse me. The cough this is getting to me, guys. But we prevail. And I appreciate everyone that's still here. Thank y'all so much for your patience. Genuinely means a lot. I'm sorry it couldn't go as smooth as I intended, but I'm happy for everyone that's here. So after doubles, we're gonna have strings, like general object of you can type whatever you want in it as long as it's two in these apostrophes apprentices. I forgot what they're called, but you can type whatever you want here. John Long is very funny, but John Doe, New York. I doesn't know I'm in New York. That's kind of weird. I hope it doesn't know. I'm thoroughly coming back here just to make sure that it works because I feel so bad on the times that I cut out. But if we go over here, we see is student, has license, and these are booleans. And booleans means it's 0 or 1 in the context of like binary, true or false. You only have two options. You have correct or you have false. Correct, wrong, true, false, same logic. And there's a couple more for this. These are the very basic ones, but again, with that, we on to these. We see actually all of them. Wonderful data types. We have Boolean. We have a byte, which is a shorter version of it. It can only handle like 1 to 100. And this is the thing that I'm saying, where if you were to use Python, right? And you couldn't do a byte in Python. You could only do like an integer or a long where it would handle these gigantic numbers. But sometimes you don't need to handle that much. For a game level, you just need a byte. You don't need it to store so much more. And this gets a little more complicated when it starts going into like handling like bits and stuff. And to pretty much explain it, I can do a comment here. 8 bits equals 1 byte. And then like to give an example, 1 gigabyte. Let me not do that on the same line. 1 gigabyte equals, let's say, 1,000 bytes, right? And then everything goes through bytes, which are zeros and ones. And that is its in itself. I go to so much into talking about binary and like how it works and doing all that, but we're gonna stick a little higher level than that, as this is a low level language, but this is what's going on in handling zeros and ones with a byte that makes it a lot faster. And especially with Boolean, because a Boolean is 2 bytes. But if you do it in Python, it's way more because it's just the way that it's set up to do so. So far, so good. All right, let's go. 2 more viewers. Thank you so much for checking in. We've had some technical difficulties. And if anyone of y'all need the link, please do let me know so you can check in for the event. And I'd appreciate it if you do. And then we're gonna have some more over here. We have char, it's just a letter. We have double, which is handling like long decimals. Float is not as far, but the F is just doing that. It's just you're just handling 2 decimal points. And then long is handling a huge number. So that you can add the L at the end, but you don't have to. It's just help to find. Like if I actually I don't know if I got rid of this. Oh, just excuse me. Char is just a letter. Boolean, double float. Long is just a longer version of int. And the reason is I just commented out because it complains, but you could make this a smaller number. Like if I make this like that, right? That should theoretically do what I want. And now it works, but it likes to complain, so whatever, right? So then we have this. I'll keep it gone away. Now we're on typecasting. We're still good, guys. I'm still checking in. Wonderful. Okay. So now I'm gonna go ahead and continue with typecasting. Excuse me. Oh wow, I can just run the main file here, but I won't. So we're gonna see type testing, and then we have two types, right? Widening, and we have narrowing. So small to large, safe, then large to small, may lose data. What does that mean? So before even going through the examples, when you are trying to change something into a smaller version, that's like changing a integer to a double or float. A double is larger than a integer, but there's rules. So, oh, sorry, a double to an integer. Since a double is larger, I'm sticking to the large to small. A double is way larger. You can have a bigger number in it, especially with decimal points. So then what it does is anything past the decimal points, it doesn't round it. It doesn't do floor, it doesn't do ceiling. It just cuts it off. It doesn't care what's on there because that's not what an integer is meant to hold. So it'll just get rid of it. Throw it into the Java trash collection. That's just how it works. And then the widening is to add more, which will be fine because, like, if you turn an int into a double, just add zero point 0 to it, which means you can add more to it. But now, if we have widening, this is going to be the list of adding it of size. So double is actually the largest. So if we go to byte, short, int, long, float, and then double, this works because these are able to take in larger numbers than this. So far, so good. Any questions by anybody? Please feel free to ask. I'm coming back here a lot because I want to make sure if anyone has any questions, I can answer them. Excuse me. So far, so good on the Wi-Fi, thank goodness. And now we're gonna go here and see some examples of the chain of automatic conversions, where we can change this my byte, and then we can see how this 10 is being converted, and it's still gonna keep this data though, because it's handling getting bigger as a storage space. So what that means is it's back to that point of handling bits, right? Which 8 of them equals 1 byte. So with that, you're just increasing the amount of space and increasing it and increasing and increasing and increasing. And then you're able to print it out. And you'll see that they both work. And now if we go over here, we're gonna have a big number, right? 9.78. And then this is the casting part. This is how you would do it like on a code thing, like adding it, where you're literally mm, converting it. So the smaller number, this would have an error if you got rid of this because it'd be like, hey, you're trying to set a double equal to it, but you're gonna then convert it by doing the parsing it. Technically, is another term for it. But if you do this, it doesn't complain. And then you see how you can print big number, but then smaller number is going to be a different version than it. And then I can keep going on this. There's multiple examples of it, but let's just run the file and see what it looks like. I'm just gonna print a lot more because it likes to give a lot of examples. But we see 100, and then now we see that when we're going to bigger, it adds that point 0 with no data loss. And then you see here that it loses it, right? It lost the decimal, and it loses all this. And then after converting to byte, because this is like in itself an entire other process of why it got to a negative number. It's not to say that it's negative, it's not to say that it lost the bytes, right? And then we see this when doing math, when dividing and doing these like PEMDAS math operations. Please still be here. Please don't tell me I logged out. Okay, fantastic. Okay, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, so when working with handling like what was I division and things like that, multiplying and any of that, if you do integer with integer, it'll work. But handling like integer to decimal gets a little complicated if you don't do proper casting and things like that, because as you see, 5 divided by 2 without casting is 2.0. So let me go ahead and go to that example. So if we look over here, we see if we don't cast the answer as a double, it will not store as a double because this operation performs as a integer operation. And we see how it performs here. It does the exact same logic, but since there's no casting to it, it won't store that 0.5. So this one would become 2.5, but because it is integer division, it'll chop off that 0.5 before it goes into it. But again, having this double will secure it. One more check because now I'm paranoid. Okay, great. Hopefully y'all can see or hear me. Hopefully it's all going well. Y'all can see your own comments. You can see how I view it, so I can't really stop that, but oh well. Just don't look at it too much. And now we're gonna go ahead and go to constants, right? And this is gonna be personal practice, and this is something that you can do. And this is a general good practice for what we're looking at. Where if you have a public static final int, these are things that you cannot change in the code. So it doesn't matter who's in it, you cannot change the value of this, whether like a user or something like that. These are final values. Final means that's what it's gonna stay like that. And things like that are gonna be straight constants. So like max amount of students you can have in a classroom legally is 30, right? Something like that. Pi never changes. Why would you change pi? And then school name. You're not gonna change the school name. Like these are just examples, just keeping these and they won't move. Then you can see how age can change, and then after we'll change to 26. This is allowed, and it does that. But we do birth year, and then we do this, and then error. This will cause compilation error, right? If we try to change to 2001, because you can't like here. I'll literally show it right now. It won't work. The final local variable cannot be what's the full term? Cannot be assigned. It must be blank, not using a compound assignment. Yeah, you can't assign it multiple values. Excuse me. Okay, continuing on that, you see that same logic. This one's a pretty simple topic since we've already gone over these different data types. The final keyword is just to add that it's going to stay like that, right? And then that static part is also there just for general practice. This static thing goes into like abstraction and things like that. It gets a little complicated, so we won't focus on it too much. But there's also abstract classes, which just defines like returning and some other stuff like that. But don't worry about it right now, unless you're trying to get into Java. Then definitely like look into it in the future. And now another amazing part of Java. With this, we have a bunch of different things that you can do, right? And this is going to be to like be able to read in values and do something like that. And I'm not going to run this one because it's going to make me type in a bunch of values to do so. And like, I'm not going to dox myself. Let's do it actually. Let's get over it. How much time is it? 26. If I run this, we're seeing that it's going to run these things. So I literally go through it as it's running it. It says enter your first name, right? So enter your first name and then input.next means it's going to take whatever I type. So this input.next, if I type in like, my name is Iro, right? Oh, cannot edit in a read-only editor. That's annoying. Okay, so I can't because it's editor, but logically speaking, you're able to type in what you want here, right? But let me define something here real quick. This next, if I were to type in Iro, the output or the thing that it would save would be Iro. It would be the same exact thing. But if I were to go over here and type my full name, Iro Escobar, what would happen is this is what it would print out after. It would print out Iro. The reason it does that is because what it is doing is it is going to keep going until it finds a space, and that space counts as its null terminator. And there's a lot of buzzwords just to say that it doesn't like spaces, so it'll assume that you're done if you don't type it. And the way to go around that is what you would do instead is you would add a next line. Oh, did I get cut out again? No, I'm still here. Okay, great. Look at is going to be the next you check this the next line like that. And next line means it doesn't matter what you type. For the entire line, it would show that. Let me check something real quick. Okay, we're good. I'm fine. Okay, and then next, now let's move on to the next ones. But I hope y'all understand this topic. And then now, if we go over here, enter your age, input next.int. This is going to be the same thing where if I type in 22. I'm not 20. I'm 20. If I type in 20, right, then it's going to take that and it's going to work the way that it wants to. But then if I typed in 20 and then like another space for some reason and I put like, oh, like something else, that would give an error because it's only able to read the first value and the second one is going to go nowhere. Because with the print, the other one, it'll just assume the space and everything else is trash. So it'll throw in the trash. There's a Java kit. That's not. So then and look over the next part, like something real loud. So go ahead and like logically speaking. taking, like, let's say we're taking multiple pages, right? Like, what you have to do is you'd either have to write a for loop, which is a topic we can cover later if there's time, a for loop, right? I was able to go ahead and go into handling every next integer that they type, and then have to type it in one at a time, right? But if they want to just type it all in at once like this, you would have to do a next line, which would mean taking in the entire line, or the one I just showed. I deleted it, but you would do next line, and then you would have to do some concatenation where you're taking it in, and then you're doing parse int on a value. And I can give an example of that right now. Let me just code it. We're like, okay, so I'll have a string, right? String. Let's do 22, right? That's a value that they put in. They can put multiple, right? And we can do like 22. Let's do the simple example right now. String. We can call this the age equals 22, right? Don't worry about the yellow. It's just saying that I'm not using it, but I'm about to use it. So now we're gonna do an int test. It's gonna equal, and then what we're gonna do is concatenate this, right? So now we can't do the like in part on it because this is with data types that are primitive. Let me make sure I'm still streaming. Okay, great. We're still going. So that was with primitive data types. So looking at this, what you would have to do instead is Java has built-in methods where you can do parse int, and then you would pass in the age. What do you mean? Why are we complaining? I don't know why. What? Okay, but this is the logic. I might not just have some package thing, but for this is how you logically approach it, where you would run a method to be able to convert it, and then you could do that with multiple, like handling specific things to go. But for some reason, this thing wants to complain. What? Okay. Well, it didn't work the way I wanted it to. Totally fine. We skip that and move on. Topic when you try to do a live demo, guys, it doesn't work the way you want it to. Even with my planned demo, I was struggling with the Wi-Fi, which is so funny. But hopefully y'all can still hear me. I don't see any more chat, any more activity. Someone say hi to me, please. But if we go over here, we can see that you can read all these different kinds of value, and it works the way like that. But this is the one where it can handle width spaces. None of the other ones can handle spaces. So you can see how this can be useful where if you're able to take in multiple inputs and then you have all of these stored up of like what to do or something like that, you're able to then define doing what's it called? Like a calculator. You can build a calculator app in Java super easily. And then you can see how you can get all this like already defined and going the way that you want it to. And it's beautiful. And it's a great thing. Someone say hi to me. No highs. Y'all are so mean. Let's see how it is. No worries though. So then we'll continue going on over here. And the next step is going to be basic operations, right? Excuse me. So we're gonna see here that we can do addition where we're going to go ahead and label it the way that it works, where we're gonna do this before. And then this is pretty self-explanatory of what it's doing. It's taking in numbers and then doing 10 minus plus minus. With integer, if this was like 3 minus 10, it would display -7. It can store negatives. Excuse me. And then multiplication, division. This 10 divided by 3 would then be able to display what's it called 3, and it would just ignore the one remainder. But another important concept is modulus, remainder. That's gonna be the percentage. So that means if it's possible, we're like if we have 10, right, and then 10 to 2, like 10 modulus 2, it'll keep taking away that 2 until it can't take 2 out anymore. But if we had 11, it would keep taking out 2 from 11 until it can't anymore, which would leave it with a remainder of 1. And that would be what is stored in remainder. And then we would have a 1 there logically. And now we see how there is integer division, where it's able to do things like this. Excuse me. And then if we have at least one double, it's able to print it. I'll run this one actually. Where if we run it, oh, if I run basic operators, Okay. Now it's complaining. Whatever. Whatever. We won't worry about it. I'm still able to understand the code. So with that, we can keep going. Okay. Oh, hello. More people have joined. Thank you for coming back in. Well, we're just going over specific Java basic operations, so I'll just continue over here. This is gonna be the modules one, just giving more examples of that. And then the increment and decrement, right? Five, and then starting count five, increment add one. These are very important. You'll see it later on. It just makes it a lot easier. Instead of doing count equals count plus one, you can just do this, count plus plus. Just simplified it. Yeah, I'm saying this stuff without even reading. I swear. I'm tough like that. Don't worry, y'all. And decrement, same thing, minus minus. And you can just apply the same logic where you can do this, but instead of if it's more operations than one, then you do minus equal plus equals times equals. You're able to run this and it's able to work. And it's just to just make math look a little prettier, make it look a little easier. Modulus equals three. So its value and be moduled by three, and then it's gonna be equal to that. So then some practice examples is actually doing like handling taxes or anything like that. So let's say you wanted to build something that calculated how much money you would make after tax. If as long as you have the numbers, you'd be able to run it in code instead of having to go find a calculator or having to know that you can just run it in code super quick, which I think is a great example. Let me see. Anybody saying nothing? We're all good. Everyone doing good? I'm checking in on y'all. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask or need me to like re-explain the concept. I'd love to. Because we're reaching towards the end of the stream. Not NN, but a good number for it. And now we have the comparison operators, right? So this bonus one, it's yelling at me over here. It's just more examples of things that you can do where it gets a little more, what's it called? Complicated. But we have logical operators. This is going to be another major important part of it. Let me get rid of these. These are bothering me. Save. No, don't save. I'm going to keep my Discord the way it was. Save it. Okay, so here we are, where we're looking at logical operators. That's just the equal, not equal, greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, less than, equal to, maximum. They're pretty self-explanatory what to do. Every time you use a logical operator, it returns a Boolean. So it's going to be true, false, false, true. There's no other rule option for it, unless null, but that's hard to get to, right? And you're not really going to be able to in these kind of scenarios. That's more of a like working with methods and complicated things, but if we're comparing different data types, this is when it starts to get a little complicated. So with this, when I'm working with letter like that, there is a ask you from ask you these different values they hold, and they're all different type. So when working strings and doing things like that, these are not the same, so they won't work, right? And they have their own ASCII values. How they come through code and things like that. System for our system. Okay, there's no question. Great. And now we go over here and we can see how use case for this or have age verification. I'm losing those. Have age verification. There is a lot of logical operations for like a website where you have to be like uh, blowing my nose, so it worked out perfectly anyway. Hello. Oh, you can see everything. It just got rid of my filter. Maybe it's too laggy for it or something, but oh well. Don't worry about it. We do what we can. So let me go ahead and oh, it got rid of that last message. Wonderful. Okay, so let me go ahead and cover my camera again, and then I will bring in. Can you hear me talking? Hello? If I go over here, hello, hello. Okay, there we go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Let me go back to sharing my full screen again. We're almost done, guys. I'm gonna cut the stream a bit short just because of difficulty issues. Plus, we're getting towards the end of like the main things that I wanted to cover. So with that, we should be okay. And I'll hopefully get my Wi-Fi fixed by tomorrow. Hopefully, guys, because this has been very stressful because I need the Wi-Fi to work. So let's go ahead and make sure I can add this to stage. And let me make sure it shows. Oh, is it kicking me out? I feel it in my gut. We'll see right now. There we go. Yay. Hooray. Okay, we're here. I'm being recorded. I can see myself. Wonderful. Okay. We were talking about the next step is comparison operators. And those are logical ones. So now we're going to go to, oh, I was on comparison operators, guys. Now I'm on logical operators. Where's the and, or not. And then these are used to compare to do Boolean values. The other comparison ones also do Boolean values, but these are guaranteed Boolean. It doesn't matter what you do. So true and true. And then if you actually compare them, you'll see that it will equal what you say it does. And then dead code because it doesn't do anything. It's so funny. And like because it'll just be false, it won't do anything. But these will technically be valid for this true one. But oh well. But as you can see, this is so funny. The dead code. I can't even highlight it, but we do what we can. So we go over here, we see that we can do things like this, and then like is not raining equals is raining. And that not right there, that little exclamation thing is what's able to define that. Am I still good? Great. Fantastic. All right. Now moving on. And this is pretty self-explanatory. You can say that they both have to be true. At least one of them has to be true, or reverses whatever the Boolean value is. And now onto some if statements. This is another type of conditional where there's a simple if statement where again I was talking about it. I think I got kicked out during when I mentioned it. But like if you're 16, you could add an age checker when working with numbers and doing those comparison ones. And as you can see, the comparison is here. And then if this is true, then you would just say you're an adult. This is an example of like verifying something. And there's an if else statement. So like I can even give an example here where if you're not true, then you're not an actual adult. So we'll do system dot out dot print line. And then we'll say that you are too young, silly. Something like that. Give it a semicolon so it doesn't yell at me. Check it again. And then switch statements are like case statements. Thank you so much for asking a question. But with that, let's go ahead and show that. So a switch statement, yes, they do have cases. You're totally correct. Case statement, switch statement, exact same thing. And I'll just move on to the if else since we're running out of time. But with this, you are able to see that you can have like it's just like a if statement where if it's a value and it matches the case, then execute what that is. So if you look at this one, the first day is Monday, so if it's day 3, then logically this is the only one that would pass. And you have to pass a break statement after each case because if you don't, if we ran here and there was no break statement in any of these, it's at the last one, it would say, okay, if we're on day 3, that means it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which wouldn't work. And if none of these cases apply, then it's an invalid day. Like if you do like day 8 or something, which wouldn't work. Was I able to answer your question, Labra? And then going back on over here as we look, we can move on to variables. And then when we look over here, we see that different kinds of variables and you see how they can be explained. So this is like adding some of the topics that we have. And now I'll go ahead and take a little bit of time left. I won't go over my time. I'll make sure that I'm following the rules, but there's a lot of different topics that this can get into. I have them all listed here. They're just a little red for some errors or something that's yelling at. Saying this declared package does not match the expected package bonus. Just the way that I named it. I can name it something else and fix it, but oh well, who cares? What if I just call it examples or something? Rename. Okay. So I just break it. Oh, that fixed a lot of them. Whatever. Okay, that was for no reason. But if we look at this for loops, we'll see that this is like the syntax of what it's going to look like and like what it does. So what a for loop does is inside of this, it's passing a parameter of different information. So we're declaring a internal variable. We're setting it to start at 0, and then that I has to be less than 3, and then I plus plus. So that means it's going to run 3 times. And now there's counting patterns where we can see that it's going to run for loops. So count it by 1, right? So we're going to have over here, and then what it's going to do is it's going to print out that internal variable. So to give an example here, this I, you don't have to, you don't have to, so okay, this is initializing where you're doing the integer, you're assigning its data type, and you're giving it a name, and then anything past the equals is the one is declaring it. Oh, sorry, I switched it. This is declaring it, and then doing this is initializing it, where you're giving it a value. And then with that, it's an internal variable. So it's a local variable. There's multiple names for it, but it only works inside of this specific for loop. Like I can't call this I in outside of another. That's why I can keep calling I because I'm declaring this I only inside of this domain. So we see over here, you don't have to only go by 1. You can do plus equals 2. So this will only run 5 times because 10 divided by 2 is 5. And if this was instead like multiplied by 2, it would go a little bit faster. So then now we can count down, you can go the other way, and then you can count by 5s, and you see how you're able to change this however you want, get it to run how many times you want, and this can have multiple different scenarios of how to do it. Yes, okay, wonderful. Thank you, Lapra. I appreciate that. If you have any more questions, I'll probably take the rest of this time. I'll go over maybe one more and then just leave it for questions. I can go over these pretty quick, actually. A lot of them are loops. Like there's while loops, which just means do this while something is asking for it. Oh, my nose is getting about to sneeze. So there's a do while. So do this while this is true. And there's a while loop. So while this is true, do it. Something like this. While x is 5, and then this won't print. And then the reason is because x equals 10, and next less than 5 will never be true. So I won't do this. But like let's say I did like while true, just typing that. Whatever's in there will run infinitely, which will break your code because you never want to have an infinite for loop because it gets super annoying to deal with. Excuse me, blow my nose. And then going ahead and going over to making sure that I'm still good. The next one is nested for loops. You can run a for loop like twice like this. So what this is going to do is, okay, we're running this once, right? Outer loop is going to be at 1. And we're going to go over here and it's going to run 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to go to 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, something like that. So then you can multiply them together how many operations it runs. And another thing I want to mention that just explains like speed, because at the beginning of the lesson I was talking about how Java can be a lot faster as a low-level language. That brings in a concept called time complexity. So with time complexity, any like regular for loop is going to be O of n. So let me do O. What? So if we do O of n, which means it runs n time operations. But if you have 2, like a nested for loop and a nested one, that means you're multiplying them. So that means this is going to equal O of n squared, which takes forever. This is a horrible time complexity. You don't want that to happen. You always want to avoid that as much as you can. Oh yeah, Lovera, 100%. Yes, yes, very valid on what you just mentioned. They were mentioning that let's say Boolean is true, then you trigger the false within the loop. Yes, exactly. You were correct on those while loops. Yes. So looking at this one for nested loops, we were on here and how you can even do nested conditions with while loops. You can do that as well. It's going to give me that. I didn't see. I'm closing this one. Loop control. Okay, loop control. So there's things that you can run here. Generally, good practice is not having to ever use anything like this inside of a for loop. You should be able to logically have it operate where you never have to have a break statement or a continue statement. This is more like handling if somebody does something on a website that's stupid. Then you would have these to handle dumb users respectfully. And then, but logically speaking, with like logical code, you want to make sure that it just does all its work. And then break means it will just continuing with break at 5, right? It'll just skip it at that number. But continue means it will just jump back to iteration. It'll skip this current one that happens. Generally tend to avoid using these though. If you can, it's not good practice to use them. And then let's go over here to arrays. And then it's about 9:50. I got a little bit of time left. How's everyone doing? You doing good so far? Any questions? Anything I can help with? We're almost pretty much out of time. And I just want to make sure I leave some time for questions or anything like that, as well as give a bit of a buffer for my next streamer. So I'll finish this off by starting off with there's a lot of data structures that you can use inside of Java or any other coding language. And there's string methods over here, string basics going over here, and how you can do concatenation and you can make a new string, which gives it a new memory address. A lot of different topics, but I really try to emphasize how amazing Java is as a language and how many things you can do with it. There's overloading, like these are things I'm probably not gonna be able to get to, but it's really amazing. I highly recommend doing it. And this is the overloading part. This is also related to concatenation, where these all go together, and you're able to do things like this, which I think is amazing. But I'll finish off with arrays, where you have these scores, right? And you have them all separate. You don't want to have three different variables for just scores. So you can instead make an array, just have them all stored, and then you can just index reference. And also to say that most data structures, if not all, are usually zero index based. Not every coding language is though, but zero index based just makes it a lot easier when working with binary numbers, and having that zero helps a lot. So with that, we can see here that it's a lot easier to reference the scores. And then there's things like array lists, which are arrays, but it dynamically adds or allocates space. Because once you define a number like this is size 5, there's 5 elements. You can't add any more unless you code it in. But if you're running it like in runtime, it won't do anything. But an array list, you can continuously add on to it. So I think we'll be able to add it there. My brain made me laugh. So I'll go ahead and remove my screen here. Excuse me. And then I'll stop screen sharing. I will add myself to the stage, and then I'll turn on my camera. Oh, it just brought it back all of a sudden. Okay, now I want to do the filter thing. So funny. Okay, well, looks like my Wi-Fi is working great. So with that, I know we had some difficulties. I think I got kicked out of the stream about 3 or 4 times, but I had a lot of fun. I was still able to get through pretty much everything that I wanted to do. It's a very basic intro to Java, but there's a lot of good resources like scrimba.com. There is Josh Long, which his YouTube is called Coffee Plus Software. There is Code with Mosh, who is a great YouTuber for any coding language, honestly. But he has a great courses. I paid for his courses. You don't have to. I would recommend it since everything is free through it. And then Lapura, thank you so much for staying throughout the thing. And then, yes, I had some tech issues. I appreciate that. And yeah, the sickness, I'll get over it. Sickness comes and goes. But I really appreciate everybody who stayed and come to watch the stream. It means a lot to me. And I hope I was able, even if it was one thing, to either teach it to you or as well as be able to just make you remember about it. Or if you already know everything and you like were calling me out on things, hopefully I did everything right. So do let me know if there's any questions. I'd love to see. I'd love to hear them or anything like I would ask for like feedback, improvement, things like that, but I know the main thing is gonna be improve my Wi-Fi, yes, but I am currently in New York and I am not, but if I could, I 100% would. I could there's so many data structures, but I can even go on a little tangent here. There's so many. Yeah, hash maps, AVL trees. You can do like tree heaps. Heaps are very good for like sorting and doing all that. It's great. I don't know. You're very knowledgeable. Definitely make sure to implement that into leak code. It's a great thing that you can do. Very powerful. Very like there's a lot of things you can use them for. And I'm just put it up here. I was talking about this in case it was from YouTube. They have like things that they can display and do all of that. And for that specifically, like this is like it goes into like more advanced. It gets more advanced. Like there's a lot more than this too. Like it gets huge, and there's so much beauty in coding and so much in the future for it. And I'll give a couple more minutes. I'll say for probably for till 1:54, just to see if there's any more questions or anything like that. Also, I'm gonna stream a bit early, but I want to say thank you so much everybody for being here. And while I close this out, I'll go ahead and bring in my link one more time and attach it. So if you're here and you would be able to, I'd love if you could please sign in through MLH. It shows that I kept showing up and making sure that this event happens. So I will go ahead and start sharing my screen and get this going. And no, thank you so much. I genuinely had so much fun being able to do this, and like I appreciate y'all's time and coming into to do this. It means a lot. So screen, let me go ahead and go over here and share. And I believe there is a feedback form. You might have to find it. Let me see. Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. That feedback, you don't have to like inform. Like I don't care what like anyone thinks of me of like the like higher ups or anything like that. I call them higher ups. They're really nice people. Everyone in MLH is so lovely. Genuinely fantastic organization. But I appreciate it. Thank you so much. But if you do find a feedback form, say Iro did really well. I would love that. That would mean a lot to me. But no pressure on it though. Like you saying that means the world to me. So thank you so much. Y'all have a wonderful night. It's almost 10 p.m. for me, so I'm gonna make some dinner and I'm gonna knock out. So thank you so much for tuning in, and y'all have an amazing night. So on to here. All right, bye bye. I'm gonna